Hello, mic test. Mic test.
One, two, three. Mic test. Hello.
Hello, hello. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, mic test.
Okay, so good evening, everyone, and let us all rise for the Philippine National Anthem. You may now sit down. So welcome to this convocation for the general elections of the UP Law Student Government for the academic year of 2025 to 2026. I'm Patricia Gadia and I'll be your host today. So this is the first time that we're ever gonna hold a BGC convocation. So we are really thankful that you guys are here today. We are gonna thank also the candidates for being here today. So before we begin, let me explain the convocation rules. For these convocations, the candidates will be given 1 minute and 30 seconds each to present their opening spells. And afterwards, during the question and answer portions, based on the questions submitted online, they will be answerable for generally 1 minute, but it will depend if the question's long, we will give you additional seconds for that. And then after which, the candidates will be given 1 minute for their closing spells. So today, again, this is the second round of our convocations. We had one yesterday in UP Diliman, and today we have the BGC candidates as well as some of the UP Law-wide candidates. So to everyone watching here today present, you can still submit your questions for the free-for-all questions and answer portion later. You can still submit questions in the ballot box outside. So that will be for our unfiltered questions round. So yes, it's just outside there. We have commissioners outside by the ballot boxes. And now, before we officially kick off the event, let us hear a few words from the esteemed head of the UP College of Law, Dean Darlene Marie Berberabe.
Good evening, Chair Andy Holandes Menchas, esteemed members of the Electoral Commission, our student body, members of the faculty, and distinguished guests. Today marks more than the formal commencement of an electoral process within the UP College of Law. It marks the continued renewal of our commitment to democratic values, integrity in leadership, and the shaping of a legal community that leads by example. The UP College of Law Electoral Commission plays a powerful role by ensuring that our student elections are conducted with fairness, transparency, and credibility. You safeguard the integrity of representation in our institution. You remind us that law is not just taught in the classroom, but practiced in how we govern ourselves, even here within the walls of Convocation. As we look toward the upcoming national elections, it is crucial to recognize that what we do in UP Law mirrors what we hope to see in the nation: peaceful, principled, and participatory elections, animated not by personality but by ideas, values, and service. A working and effective telecom teaches us that democratic institutions are only as strong as those who run and respect them. It teaches us that even in a microcosm like ours, the rule of law must be lived, not merely studied. When our student leaders are elected through the due process, when the leaders we elect reflect our values as a student body of UP Law, when our rules are enforced consistently, and when our community participates meaningfully, we show the rest of the world how democracy is part of our culture. Let this electoral exercise remind us all that democracy is an act of trust in institutions, in voters, and in each other. And let us not forget that as UP Law students, future public servants, lawyers, judges, and policymakers, how we conduct ourselves here becomes a template for how we will shape the country tomorrow. To our Electoral Commission, thank you for your vigilance. To our student body, may your participation today be an act of bold leadership and responsible citizenship. And to our candidates, thank you for offering yourselves to be leaders. If you win, may you serve with honor and excellence. Mabuhay ang halalang may country.
So we would like to thank Dean Berberabe for that video. And now we will be presenting our candidates. And again, we'll be giving them 1 minute and 30 seconds to present their opening skills. Let us first call on one of the candidates for BGC Evening Representative, candidate Joaquim Miguel Melo. You can stand also.
Good evening. Hello, Zoom. I'm Joaquim Melo, your next UP BGC Evening representative. I'm running under the platform of Kay Melo, Lahat Panalo. As evening students, I'm sure we all have similar issues. we clock out of work, we race through traffic, we grab a bite to eat if we're lucky, and then we get ready to learn the law for 3 hours every day, Monday to Saturday. It's tiring. And change that I have planned is centered on one central promise. Kay Melo, lahat panalo. So Melo stands for mindfulness, engagement, learning, and optimized essentials. Hello, self. I want to present some flagship projects for my opening spiel. Well, for one, we have Meet Point, which is a transparency and accountability mechanism at its root. I'll be scheduling regular sit downs where anyone in BGC, eve or day if you want, can approach me to address concerns, issues, questions. We'll get it done, we'll hash it out. Next, I have Evening Echoes, which will bring BGC Past with BGC Present, where we'll have alumni who will give information on job opportunities, law school advice, etc. And lastly, we have Law Link, where we prioritize collaboration across blocks and across years. We'll have a Google sign-up sheet where anyone can sign up, say what they would like to study for, how they would like to study for it, with who they would like to study for it, how many people, etc. And we'll try to match your grind. So again, I'm Melo, and thank you for being here. Kay Melo, lahat panalo.
So thank you so much, candidate Melo. Now let us hear from the other candidate running for BGC evening representative, candidate Jethro Camara.
Good evening sa lahat. Mula sa UP Alianza, I'm Jethro Camara, your BGC evening representative. I believe, and this campaign is centered on that belief, that the BGC evening community is not just a program, it's a community. And this campus should be a campus. But in many ways, it actually lacks the necessary infrastructure and basic student services to be considered a proper home for its students. Saan ka nakakita ng campus na after this time, especially at this now, wala na tayong mabibilhan ng pagkain. Kailangan pa natin magpa-deliver. Saan ka rin makakita ng campus na kailangan mo pang bumiyahe ng git na isang oras para lang makakuha ng isang bagay kasing simple na ID. Most of my batchmates don't even have their ID yet, and it's almost been a year. And despite all of this, the BGC evening community has shown itself to be strong and resilient. Bawat isa sa atin, merong mga sariling kwento kung paano tayo napunta sa UP Law. Bawat isa sa atin, may mga sariling pangarap bilang mga susunod na abogado para sa bayan. And because of that, I want to highlight two particular projects. Initiatives. First is that I want to push for the localization of basic student services from Diliman to BGC. We will push for a satellite option or a fully online option that is available for BGC students. Pangalawa, we will create a student volunteer corps where BGC students can forward the campaigns that is specifically for the BGC campus and for the BGC students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Camara. Now let us hear from the candidates running for BGC Day representatives. Let us first start with candidate Isabel Danielle Yu.
Good evening, audience, my fellow candidates, and people on Zoom and Elecom. My name is Danny Yu, and I am your BGC Day representative. Who I am and why I want to run is encapsulated by two things: continuing the good of our previous LSG administrations, and creating the great FEMDAC to bring more life into our campus. A vote for you, just a vote for me is a vote for you. So vote you for UPBGC Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Yu. Now let us hear from candidate Sofia Therese Tolentino.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Soph Tolentino, your next BGC Day representative. UPBGC is a place where we can learn and connect with each other. And I want to be your next BGC representative because the LSG and the BGC Day representatives especially helped me adjust to law school. And I want to do this through four things: SOPH. So first, support. As your BGC Day representative, I commit to being reliable, responsive, and visible in addressing your day-to-day concerns. For O, or for opportunities, as your representative, I commit to bringing you more opportunities to maximize your law school experience, and I want these to be community-based. We already know that law school is hard, And I want our community to foster a belief or a value and a mindset that it's okay to take a brain break. For P, or for participation, I want your participation to be more meaningful. So as your BGC Day representative, I think that we can implement a monthly calendar wherein we coordinate with the public events here with the auditorium and the CCA project. So we have something to look forward to as we go to BGC. Lastly, for H, or for here, as your BGC Day representative, I commit to our hallway conversations, making it to the LSG table. And we can do this through efficient communication platforms. Now, this is just a gist of what I plan to offer you as your next BGC Day representative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Tolentino. And lastly, let's hear from another candidate running for BGC Day representative, candidate Juan Mario Luis Esplana.
Hello everyone, I'm Luis Esplana, your next BGC Day representative. UP-BGC is a place to realize your potential. With LUINS, I will lead you to a stronger, brighter UP-BGC experience. Always remember, leadership starts with listening. So first, I listen. Your voice matters. Not only will I actively lend an ear, but I will also ensure that your voice reaches the LSU and the university when crafting student policies. Second, I unite. Law school is already difficult as it is. But one thing we can do is build systems that are reliable and self-reliant. And third, I inspire. We are all more than just studious learners. By learning what we have achieved from the birth of UP-BGC, we can realize that we can conquer and excel. But lastly, we all smile. There's nothing is more heartwarming than seeing a bright smile. So again, I'm Luis Esplana, and I listen, unite, inspire, and smile. Please vote for me in the upcoming election and also exercise your right to vote on Monday. Always remember, leadership starts with listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Esplana. And now let us call on the candidates present here today running for law-wide positions. So first, let us hear from the candidate running for Public Relations Officer, Jose Manuel Domandan.
Good evening, UP Law community. My name is Jose Manuel J.M. Dumandan, running to be your next public relations officer. So with my work experience in communications and my org experience in writing, I'm ready to propose to you a public relations that is 1, pro-student, 2, proactive, and 3, professional. Pro-student, information will reach you clearly and on time. We will be establishing the Loganizer calendar, which not just includes all the key initiatives and events of UP Law in one place, but we will provide a more accessible and efficient means of reaching all students for information dissemination through the creation of email blasts. We'll also be having a feedback form where us students can share suggestions, feedbacks, and comments, which can be heard in real time and ensure that we have a space to be heard. Next, proactive, we will be revamping the bulletin boards of our campus, which includes also the BGC campus. I'm aware that we have bulletin boards here as well. We want to ensure that we will include monthly highlights, not just events of UP Law, but also events outside, important legal happenings outside of the college and within the national level as well. And lastly, professional, as part of the upcoming student government, will make sure that no student is left in the dark. It will increase transparency through the Malcolm Minute publications, breaking down into detail all our steps moving forward. So once again, I am JM Dumandan, and I promise to be here so that you can get things done with JM Dumandan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Dumandan. Now let us hear from the candidate running for treasurer. Yes, candidate sorry, let me see your whole name. Candidate Armando Drake Matias.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Armand Drake Matias, running to be your next LSG treasurer. I'm a certified public accountant with real-world working experience in public service. And I'm not here just to manage the numbers. I'm here to make them work for you. If elected, I'll focus on 3 things. ADM. A for accountable leadership, where we will make sure that the funds are accounted for and explained to you, the student body. We will do this through transparent financial practices, and smart fiscal planning, where we will make sure that the budget is practical, efficient, and responsive to your needs. D, for driven income generation. We will do this through collaborative fundraising initiatives, Bridges, a UP Law alumni fundraiser, and Reuse for a Cause. These projects are inclusive and sustainable, such as bazaars, alumni dinners, and repurposing of our resources. M, for makabagong pananaw. We will do this through a real-time fiscal transparency, where you can see we will launch an online active live link for you to check the finances of the LSG. We also have open communication, where I will make sure that you have a voice where you can say your comments and your feedbacks to the LSG. Once again, I'm her man, his man, your man, our man, running for LSG Treasurer. Thank you.
And lastly, let us hear from the candidate running for internal vice president, candidate Jose Peregrine Argana.
Sistemang gumagana, sigurado kay Argana. Magandang hapon, UP Law. Ako si Jose Peregrine Japs Argana, still here and ready to serve, now hopefully as your next internal vice president. Our campaign has focused on a system that works, hence the tagline, Sistemang gumagana. But how do we achieve this? We have three simple things, three simple letters, IVP. I for integrated. We recognize the role of the IVP as the bridge between the LSG Central Board and the rest of the student body with the College Registration Committee. Yung concerns natin pagdating sa registration, yung mga missing documents na hinihingi ng OCS, yung mga requirements for graduation, ito ang tinututukan ng IVP. And sisiguraduhin natin na yung policies and guidelines that we will craft together with the administration are very much student-centered. Hindi pwedeng may iwan na estudyante dahil lamang may unclear na policies or guidelines pagdating sa student registration. Next, V, value-driven and value-adding. We also take part, or rather head even, the Students' Rights and Welfare Committee within the LSG. And for this, we will explore with the volunteer corps initiatives such as the establishment of the Student Welfare Fund para sigurado na meron tayong as-aid. And finally, P for personal, dahil ang importante ay magkakasama ang UP Law tungo sa mabuting pagbabago. Maraming salamat. Ako uli si Jose Peregrine Argana. We will Japs too.
Thank you so much, candidate Argana. So now that we've heard all of the candidates, let us now give them a chance to address the questions submitted by the UP Law community. And again, to repeat the mechanics, each candidate will be given generally 1 minute to answer questions that are directed to them. However, if the questions, yes, even for questions that are directed to all candidates. But if ever the question is a bit too long, we will be giving additional seconds for them to answer. So other additional additional things that the candidate should know is that should the question be directed to an affiliated candidate, kindly state your affiliation first. And for portions that are only for BGC candidates, again, kindly sorry, the script is naghahalo-halo from yesterday. But so let us just move on to the questions already. So we'll start with the questions coming from the question form. So our first question, so this is directed to the Esplana Tolentino tandem. Other than improving the BGC campus for day students, do you have no plans to bridge us to or better facilitate our access to LSG and other org events that are only in Diliman, such as destinations? Let me repeat the question. Other than improving the BGC campus for day students, do you have no plans to bridge us to or better facilitate our access to LSG and other org events that are only Diliman, such as destinations? We can start hearing from candidate Tolentino.
So thank you for this question. And this is something that we also get in our R2Rs. So in terms of bridging with the Diliman campus, we recognize that some of the projects are Diliman-centric. And it is a bit hard for us to schedule and to plan to go to Diliman for these things. However, as we mentioned in our RTRs, there have been moves or there have been initiatives already from the incumbent LSG to make these services or these activities closer to home, such as carpooling. And if we can see that there is further demand in the incoming school year, then of course this is something that we can coordinate and collaborate with you for more ideas.
To extend this beyond destinations, no. Again, thank you for that question. It's actually in BGC's history, we didn't have practice of moot here, but now it's possible. And we also have a blockmate who's part of PLJ as an editor. So it's possible. It's just a matter of making it known to you guys. So it's not a limitation. Being in BGC is not a limitation, but there are ways there have been ways to bridge that gap. So thank you very much for that question.
So thank you, candidate Esplana and candidate Tolentino. And just to further emphasize that this question is the ones from the question form. So if you may see in the screen, we also included a screenshot of the actual question from the Google form. And just for the sake of the timer, we'll address you na lang so that we can start you if ever the question is for more than one person.
Clarify.
Yes.
Earlier, we were told that we split the time, so we'll each have time.
You can split the time if it says tandem.
Oh, okay.
But I think what she's specifically referring to is that in order to start the count, they have to say your name.
Okay,
So I
thank
think
you.
that's what she's yeah.
Okay. So if it's for them, the tandem questions will be split. Okay. 1 minute lang. Thank you so much. So our next question. Yes, it's directed to the Esplana Tolentino tandem again. The question is, isn't UP BGC trade redundant? There is already an existing group for UP law students to sell pre-loved gadgets. How do you plan to differentiate this from that? Or will you just integrate your ideas with said group? Let me repeat the question. Isn't UP BGC trade redundant? There is already an existing group for UP law students to sell pre-loved gadgets. How do you plan to differentiate this from that? Or will you just integrate your ideas with the said group? Yes, you may start.
So UPBG's trade is more than just a Facebook group, no? It's a table at the start of each semester. It's by design, physical. So to bridge that gap, the communication delivery, the identity of the person who's selling, also it's timed at the start of each semester because that's the time when you finished your previous year. That's the time where you can sell the books you used from last year. No? So it's a very convenient tool for you guys. For the specifics, we can talk about it more, but it's really different from just a mere Facebook group. I mean, I'm not, a Facebook group is good, but something physical is even more reliable. So that's what I'm trying to bridge. Thank you.
Candidate Tolentino, will you? Okay, thank you. So for our next question, it is directed again to the Esplana Tolentino tandem. Do you think there is a problem with the availability of spaces in campus? If so, how do you plan to address it? Let me repeat the question. Do you think there is a problem with the availability of spaces in campus? If so, how do you plan to address it? Whoever will speak may start now.
Okay, so thank you for that question. Again, this is something that was brought up to us also in RTRs. And as students, we do experience this. So it's not only just the reservation of campus spaces, but it's also the population of BGC as well. As we are getting more students per year level, as BGC gets older in a sense, it is a problem. And we plan to address this by first, again, we need to see the demand. So thank you for bringing up these concerns to us in the RTR and through the question form. But I think one of the personal solutions that we can take ourselves as we work on a solution with admin is to find a space that works for you. So for example, if you are the type of student who needs a singular quiet space, personally, well, both Luis and I have found solace in solo classrooms. Although it might be hot, there are still fans, but this is something we can work on if we see the demand, and it has been brought up to us already. So we hope to work on that next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
To add, we also answered this in RTR. Again, thank you for the question. It starts with us, the spaces we choose. As Soph said, we often like go to a solo class. In fact, Miss Marge, she was
Sorry to cut you, Candidate Esplana, but the 1 minute was up for the tandems.
okay.
Okay, just to clarify again, so if that's a tandem question, you'll just be given 1 minute for split for the both of you. So yes, we apologize for the little confusion. Sorry to cut you also. Thank you. So now let us move on to the next question. It is a long question. Just directed to candidate you. I will just read the question so that the bottom portion which is napuputol sa screen, we can still understand it. So this is directed to candidate you. The question is, by proposing to host parties after every midterms and finals week with Cram, Conquer, Celebrate, do you know how much holding such events would cost? Are you also saying LSG funds will be used for these? If so, one, how do you know if funds are allocated by the LSG for BGC as a whole or on a per event basis? If so, how much? If not, can you estimate? Number two, are you saying they have enough funds? Number three, are you saying allocating such amount for these events is a good productive use of LSG funds? And in the bottom, it says, if not LSG funds, how do you plan to pool the required deposit to hold such events? Again, let me repeat the question also for the sake of the live stream. By proposing to hold parties after every midterms and finals week with Cram, Conquer, and Celebrate, do you know how much holding such events would cost? Are you also saying LSG funds will be used for these? If so, number one, do you know if funds are allocated by the LSG for BGC as a whole or on a per event basis? If so, how much? If not, can you estimate? Number two, are you saying they have enough funds? Number three, are you saying allocating such amount for these events is a good productive use of LSG funds? If not LSG funds, how do you plan to pool the required deposit to hold such events? Feeling prof ata to. It's giving midterms. We will be giving candidate you 1 minute. 1 minute and 30 seconds. 1 minute and 30 to answer all of these. Yes, you may proceed.
May I clarify first?
Okay.
1 minute 30 per, so that includes the sub questions of 1, 2, and 3. So I
Yes.
1, 2, and 3 in the 1 minute 30.
You can just make a summary answer if you want, but if you do want to address each, we'll just be giving 130. Yes, 1 minute and 30.
It's a challenge. Sige, let's try.
Don't forget, turn on your mic.
Okay, I'll be looking at the screen.
It's okay.
Okay, so the first question, do I know how much holding such events would cost? Yes, actually. In my undergrad years, I actually had to start working as a freshman right away. And my job required me to actually plan, host, and execute end of finals and midterms celebrations. So I would also take census kung ano bang gusto ng mga tao, okay, hanapan natin ng paraan. So short answer, yes. Second question. Am I saying that LSG funds will be used for use? I think it's a dynamic answer because I know that the LSG cannot endorse doing certain things during certain celebrations. But I think I interpret the funds would go more towards logistics. Because as the LSG, I know that it is our job to be representative of the people that elect us. So it's my job to make sure that the funding, or in this case, the logistic funds or the manpower, has to be used prudently to figure out what we need and how to do that effectively. Question 3, sub 1. Do I know if funds are allocated by the LSG as a whole or on a per event basis? I think it's both because my understanding of it is the funding for our campus and the campus events are taken from I consider it like a tax collection, the 100 to 150 pesos. So, depende sa solicitation or yung contributions, yung magkano yung magiging budget natin for the project.
I'm sorry to cut you, candidate you, but the 1 minute and 30 seconds is already up. So thank you for answering the question. And we would like to thank as well whoever submitted this for a very comprehensive question. Not as a joke, but then it's really good to have good questions like this. Next, let us see the next question. Oh no, naputol din. Let me just read it also. So the question is, can you identify what problems incoming BGC Day seniors have been experiencing for the past few years? How do you plan to address them? Also, can you name at least 15 third-year students? Yes, we'll be giving you 1 minute to answer.
Just to save time, I don't want to answer the second one just because I don't think it's prudent to get the consent of at least 15 third-year students in this short amount of time. So for the first question, the specific problems that I think the incoming BGC Day seniors are encountering, actually they communicated this during my RTR to them last week. I think a really big issue is once they hit fourth year, nakukulangan daw sila sa slots for their electives their electives. And I attribute that problem to nagko-coincide yung registration ng fourth year sa registration ng incoming freshmen. And we all know ang daming incoming freshmen as someone who was an incoming freshman. So I want to address the bottlenecking by getting a census right away of ano yung interested units and how I can basically collaborate with OCS to make the change easier.
Thank you so much, candidate Yu. Let's move to the next question. Next question. Yes. This question is directed to all day rep candidates. So the question is, when liaising with admin, what do you think are your personal strengths and weaknesses? Please make sure to list at least one weakness and that you draw examples from your previous experience in extracurriculars as an org officer, school politics as an elective official, class as a BDL, or workplace as an employee.
I'd like to clarify, right?
Okay.
Whenever a question says to all day rep candidates, we're allowing Ms. Planner to continue to answer.
Yes. Let me repeat the question. When liaising with admin, what do you think are your personal strengths and weaknesses? Please make sure to list at least one weakness and that you draw examples from your previous experience in extracurriculars as an org officer, school politics as an elective official, class as a BDL, or workplace as an employee. Let us first hear from candidate Yu.
My personal strength, I think, is yung proactiveness ko. This semester, actually, I am the BDL for obligations and contracts. And merged block pa kami. So, mga close to 40 students kami in one. And I had to go back and forth between our professor and OCS to make sure that the other block, because hindi nag-reflect yung schedule agad sa CRS nila. And I didn't want to allow them to be delayed sa classes. So babalik-balik ako between my prof and OCS to make sure that I could tell them certain things related to the syllabus, yung schedule namin. And through also the kindness of my block, we also ended up sharing resources with them para lang hindi sila madali. As for weakness, I think it comes from the fact that sometimes I'm not sure how to collect OCS if it's not in person, just because I know just how many emails we receive in a day. Yeah.
Thank you so much, candidate Yu. Now let us hear from candidate Tolentino.
So again, thank you for that question. In terms of my strengths when coordinating with admin, I'd say that I have formed a good relationship with OCS particularly. And I am the type of person who maintains relationships even if we aren't exactly working together every single day. It's as simple as us saying hi to them in the corridors and acknowledging that they are busy people as well. So although we have important concerns, they also have important work. So it's a mutual understanding and respect in the relationships I have made, specifically with OCS or with admin, and even in my hard work and in my class. For a weakness, I'd say I'm very particular. So once that I set my mind on something or on a solution after hearing all sides or after consulting and collaborating, I am a bit headstrong and it will take a lot to change my mind when I find a solution that I personally believe in after collaboration. So again, thank you.
So much, candidate Tolentino.
Thank you for that question. My strength, like so, is I've built a great relationship with OCS. I always, I always see them with a smile when they walk. That's very important for me because it makes it really easy to talk to OCS, both Ma'am Sarah and Ma'am Margie. My weakness though is I listen too much. Okay. Context. Because, kunyari, if you have an extracurricular babang gas exam, I'll do whatever it takes to move it, even if, some might get annoyed. Because it matters to me. Like extracurriculars, going beyond the classroom, it matters to me. Matters to me too much that I will try to, make it happen to accommodate you. And I think that's a strength, but that's also a weakness on my end. So there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for answering these questions. Let us hear the next question. This question is directed again to all of the BGC candidates. So this will now include as well the evening representatives. So the question is, in Diliman, there is a rumor of an ongoing feud between two fraternities. What do you plan to do to ensure that BGC remains a safe space for both Greek affiliated and non-affiliated students alike? Moreover, how will you ensure no biases on student welfare and resource distribution? I'll repeat the question. In Diliman, there is a rumor of an ongoing feud between two fraternities. What do you plan to do to ensure that BGC remains a safe space for both Greek affiliated and non affiliated students alike? Moreover, how will you ensure no biases on student welfare and resource distribution? Let us first, just to inform the candidates as well, if you are affiliated, kindly disclose. Let us first hear from the candidate for BGC Evening Representative, candidate Melo.
Thank you for the question. So I'm a member of the Sigma Rho fraternity. And is there a rumor of an ongoing? What do you plan to do to ensure? Well, I can say from here on out, uh, I am extremely against frat-related violence, and that being a member of a Greek organization is not that's not mutually exclusive. I am against frat-related violence, and I believe that if there are instances of frat-related violence that aren't just rumors, where we actually see students are actually affected, it's a negative thing to our community, then everyone involved should be held accountable. How do you how will you ensure no biases on student welfare and resource distribution? I think this is a case of coordination within the LSG, first and foremost. Coordinate with the college-wide officials. And space for both Greek affiliated and non-affiliated. I think that's the same thing. You're all students. And as LSG people, we should focus on making a safe space for all students, regardless of that. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, candidate Melo. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
Okay. Currently, I'm not a member of any fraternity. So to answering the question, I believe that we should be able to focus on projects and activities that are not specifically catered to specific fraternity, because these fraternities, they have their own initiatives and programs. What we focus on with the LSG is a mandate that is for all students, regardless of their fraternity. And I'll make sure within different blocks, different years, that the programs and activities that we have will not be biased towards anyone. And that's also part of what I personally am pushing for, is to first is to make sure that we have a proper home in BGC. And that includes feeling that every student has a safe space. I'm pretty sure it's in the best interest of all the Greek organizations to make sure that they would have a space where they would not be necessarily attacked, or they would be committing violence, etc.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Candidate Camara. Let us now hear from Candidate Yu.
I'm unaffiliated with any organization, and I think a common reason why a lot of us chose BGC is because for the convenience. So to answer that question, I would rather address the feud by through the resource question, actually. And as someone who is already in an unbiased situation, I feel that I have a good grasp of how to address everyone's needs. For example, sa common sa baba, art printer, kulang na nga tayo sa paper. Parang I would have a platform to provide us with a constant and sustainable stream of paper for our printing needs. And as for the feud, I think it would just be important to remind all organizations that if there is a feud going on between them, it shouldn't involve violence.
Thank you so much, Candidate Yu. Let us now hear from Candidate Tolentino.
Okay, so thank you for the question. I would ensure peace in BGC by being a visible and reliable presence in the LSG or in the Commons. So as someone who is unaffiliated, I think it is good for my position to be able to communicate and collaborate with all members of the student body, whether affiliated or not. And I think as the BGC Day representative, when I was a freshman, I really looked up to the BGC Day representatives. Even if they were older than me, I felt they were approachable. I felt I could count on them. And I felt they did give me tips to thrive in law school. And I want to be that person for the BGC Day community. So whether it's an issue of a Greek affiliated organization or an issue of a unaffiliated student, I will be the representative that is open or approachable for these things. And that is how we can ensure peace, by making sure that all concerns are heard and are addressed and acted upon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now let us hear from Candidate Esplana.
Yeah, thank you for that question. For me, violence is never an option. And the response to that is always accountability. While that aside, I can proudly say that I have friends in Greek organizations, both Greek organizations and non-affiliated people alike. I can joke with them, I can talk to them, they can talk to me, they can approach me with no hesitation. That's the first step. That's very important. Now, so to the bias, I'm running as your BGCD rep, not running because I'm a member of a fraternity. And it will always, your needs and what matters to you will always matter to me. So there, thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Now let us see our next question. This question is now directed to the law-wide candidates. How do you better reach your constituents in BGC and Iloilo with your platforms? As it is now, even your campaign is heavily constricted and confined to Diliman students only, effectively still making Diliman, BGC, and Iloilo isolated campuses instead of a single UP law. I will repeat the question. You don't have to answer, or yes, you can still answer regarding Iloilo even if we're in BGC. But how do you better reach your constituents in BGC and Iloilo with your platforms? As it is now, even your campaign is heavily constricted and confined to Diliman students only, effectively still making Diliman, BGC, and Iloilo isolated campuses instead of a single UP law. Let us first hear from the candidate running for PRO, Candidate Tumandan.
Okay, thank you.
So, as we all know, at the core of the duties and functions of a PRO is to ensure communication within the student body. And my platforms aren't just limited to the Diliman campus, but also to the BGC and Iloilo campus as well. We want to make sure that it's proactive, pro-student, and professional. We want to create a system of communication that can be easily accessible to all campuses, to all students, whether you're a day or a working student, which is why we'll be having the Loganizer, which also provides a more accessible means through the creation of email blasts, because we're aware of the reality that not everyone is able to be updated through social media due to the busyness of law school. We also want to utilize the most out of the physical space that we have both in the Diliman and the BGC campus right now. And lastly, we'll be continuing regular publications through the Malcolm Minute publications, and to ensure that all the students from each campuses are not left in the dark. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Matias.
Thank you. Under D for driven income generation, one of my platform is collaborative fundraising initiatives, wherein we would partner with student orgs and local businesses. Now, my platform is inclusive and sustainable, meaning it's inclusive for all campuses. My view is that there is no UP Law Diliman, UP Law BGC, or UP Law Iloilo. There is only one UP Law. And so my platforms address all campuses. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Argana.
Thank you very much. Part of our platform in Sistemang Gumagana is the integrated aspect. And one of the specific actions that we are going to take is the holding of regular town hall meetings with all batch representatives and all students of the three campuses. And these could be made even more targeted, say specific for BGC, as the nuanced concerns are a reality when it comes to student registration, one of the main roles of the IVP. As for the second part of the question, I'm happy to share that we were able to reach already blocks in the BGC campus with the campaign. So thank you again to those who've accommodated us this afternoon. Admittedly, logistics have been a challenge, but we do everything we can, even being a working student at that. We try to make time, and this is a dedication that will continue on for the rest of our service to the student body. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much. Now let us have our next question. The next question is directed to, it is directed to candidate you only. So, in this question, someone attributed their name or maybe a nickname. This question is from JR. What are the concrete steps you will take to address the introduction of several new facilities as mentioned in your platform, i.e., nurse, deficiency assistance, satellite ID, food options, and funding for such initiatives? Let me repeat the question. What are the concrete steps you will take to address the introduction of several new facilities as mentioned in your platform, i.e., nurse, deficiency assistance, satellite ID, and food options, and funding for such initiatives?
Given that my platforms address a lot of different needs that I think we need to have on campus, I think I would go over a minute 30 or even an hour 30 going over each and every concrete step with you. So I've actually prepared a feasibility map that I'm hoping to get out to everyone next week, hopefully, to show you that. But in general, my my whole idea is that it starts turnover pa lang. Kailangan sa simula pa lang, once you sit, you don't waste a single second, because all of these things that I promise, I recognize that it needs the time and effort dedicated to making these things happen. So it's basically just maximizing the time, reaching out to who you know and who you know will help you with what you need, and making sure that each and every interaction is for the betterment and fulfillment of my promises to you.
Thank you. Now let us see our next question. This question is directed to candidate Esplana and candidate Talentino separately. The question is, given that you seem to have ambitious projects and you're against a tandem with different plans, but this is you are the tandem. But let me just still read the question first. Again, given that you seem to have ambitious projects and you're against a tandem with different plans, what will you do if one of them won along with you, or he or she does not agree with the feasibility of your projects? I think we will go back to this question. I think there seems to be, it's a very confusing question. Let's skip this question first. I think it does not, it's either not directed properly to the candidate or the question is wrong. Or I mean the question is phrased wrongly. So we will just double check the form if it was directed properly to the candidate. So let's go to the next question instead.
Sorry, yes, that was supposed to be directed to Danny. That was our mistake.
Oh, okay. So we'll proceed with the question. Okay. So we'll proceed with the question, but this is directed to candidate U. So read na lang again. Okay, I will reread. So this question is directed to candidate U. Given that you seem to have ambitious projects and you're against a tandem with different plans, what will you do if one of them won along with you and he or she does not agree with the feasibility of your projects?
Actually, from a wider sense of perspective, I think the three of us want to do the same thing. We recognize that there is a need for certain facilities. We just have different methods of getting to that goal. So for me, it just really comes down to clear communication and collaboration because I understand tatlo kami, may matatalo. Ganun naman talaga. But the important thing is that we're able to work through the differences, figure out a compromise that doesn't have to align with us personally, but aligns for the student body as a whole.
Thank you so much, candidate U. Now let us see the next question. The question is directed to the Esplana Tolentino tandem. So you'll be given 1 minute to answer. So you guys can split. The question is, how can we ensure that the tandem, who are blockmates, can truly represent the interest of an entire campus despite the lack of diversity? To repeat, how can we ensure that the tandem, who are blockmates, can truly represent the interest of an entire campus despite the lack of diversity?
Okay, so thank you for that question. And I understand that that is a concern. But if you allow us to explain that we actually both have different networks, or although we somehow intersect in our friends, that is something that Luis and I share, that we reach outside of our blockmates. So although my closest friends can still be my blockmates, that doesn't mean that I've isolated others as well. And I think with our projects that are also low commitment and can be shared by everybody, that this is how we will bring the campus together.
To add to that, recognize. No need. Yeah. To add to that, no, to echo what Soph said, we are different people. From our differences, we have different interests, we have different inclinations. I'm sure you can resonate with one of us in some way you can. Also, as Soph said, we have different networks. And what I can extend also beyond that is my connection to the alumni. I think.
I apologize for having to cut you, but the timer is up.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now let us see our next question. The question is directed again to the Esplana Tolentino tandem. What is the relevance of having a campus-centered calendar if our academic calendar is in line and must comply with the academic calendar of UP Diliman? Again, what is the relevance of having a campus-centered calendar if our academic calendar is in line and must comply with the academic calendar of UP Diliman?
Okay, so thank you for that question. I envision the UP BGC monthly calendar to be one that incorporates external activities, so that are specific and unique to the BGC campus. So for example, the outside events that are open to the public, wherein our auditorium is used as well as the CCA students who have projects wherein they sell food, they give free tastes of coffee and things like that. So it is in line, of course, with the academic calendar. It's not about having a academic only centered calendar. It's about the external reach of such calendar. Because sometimes it's a bit, well, for a lack of term, it's kind of sayang when you get to school and then CCA pala has free coffee pero you bought deuces na pala. I think it's something that we can also help the CCA students because they do ask for feedback. So that's just one example of how we can make use of the calendar. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us see our next question. This is directed to candidate Argana. There have been rumors circulating that the lone presidential candidate supposedly asked you to step down or withdraw your initial candidacy for LSG president. Can you confirm or deny these allegations? To repeat, there have been rumors circulating that the lone presidential candidate supposedly asked you to step down or withdraw your initial candidacy for LSG president. Can you confirm or deny these allegations?
Thank you very much. Everyone, there is no truth to the rumors that I was asked to step down or withdraw my intent to run for president. I admit that I did submit an LOI for the position of president at the beginning of the election period. But seeing the vacancy in the IVP, we recognize the crucial role of that particular office. And even if there could be special elections afterwards, but there would be months without an IVP. The president, if ever, would then have to carry that work and pass down to the batch representatives. Now, in that decision, we put the student body first. Hindi tayo papayag na may iwan dahil may bakanting posisyon sa LSG. We're not saying that we're the perfect candidate for the position. We still have things to learn. But with our willingness and with our experience, then we're pretty confident that we can carry this through. And with that, we also like to highlight that we have a very competent presidential candidate as well. So thank you for the question.
Thank you so much. Now let us see our next question. This is directed to candidate you. The question is, for your satellite ID system, who or which office will you coordinate with to facilitate one, taking pictures in BGC, and two, delivering the IDs to BGC? OUR does not even do deliveries for IDs. Again, for your satellite ID system, who or which office will you coordinate with to facilitate one, taking pictures in BGC, and two, delivering the IDs to BGC? OUR does not even do deliveries for IDs.
I don't think that just because OUR doesn't do deliveries for IDs doesn't mean that it's not something that I can make happen. What was disallowed before doesn't have to be a continuing pattern for this coming school year, especially that the more freshmen come in, the bigger our student body gets. It has to get to a point where we are able to highlight the need for these facilities. Something as basic as our ID, we have to go all the way to Diliman. Just you have to set a date, trip, an appointment for it. When we chose BGC for a reason. And aside from OUR, I would also talk to the building administration so that OUR has a dedicated space here for a couple of weeks to accommodate us.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear our next question. The question is directed to all day rep candidates. The question is, how can you address rumors personally attached to you that make students hesitate to vote for you? Open close parenthesis, Esplana dash mayabang, Tolentino dash rude, you dash no integrity. Again, how can you address rumors personally attached to you that make students hesitate to vote for you? Open close parenthesis, Esplana dash mayabang, Tolentino dash rude, you dash no integrity. Let us begin with candidate you.
In my personal capacity, I'm actually not someone who's affected by rumors, simply because if someone wanted to talk to me about something, I make myself more than available to have a conversation about it. But I understand that, especially with the gravity of that accusation, like, I understand why it would raise issues for someone who wants to vote for day rep. And to that, I say, message me, get to know me. That's why I specifically wanted my campaign to show who I was, how genuine I was. Because I also understand that the hesitation in voting for me isn't because of just a rumor. It's also the fact that I'm new here. So I want to continue how I've been presenting myself to you and just let you know that you can ask me anything, literally anything.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Thank you so much.
So thank you.
Now let us hear from
I'm so sorry. Okay, hello. Okay. So, hello, people on Zoom. But I started by saying thank you for bringing up this concern because it's the first time I've heard about it for all three of us, this rumor. So, perhaps the rumor spreading is not spreading, but but other than that, but again, thank you for bringing this up. So, of course, if there was any experience where I was rude to you, I'm so sorry. I personally apologize. But as to echo what candidate you said, I hope you also take the time not just to see us and what we may present, but to get to know us, our platforms, and why we are here under scrutiny right now in front of the student body because we want to serve. So, but thank you for bringing that up. That is very noted feedback on my part. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Esplana.
Hello. Una, I don't know if it's offensive, pero sorry. Sorry. Sorry if I come across as mayabang. I'm sorry talaga. Well, it didn't teach me also, just like so. I actually asked my blackmates, am I mayabang? They said, no, pero I understand why you would come across as that. So I acknowledge, and I'm sorry. Okay. With that, I tell my blockmates this, no? It's not about how loud I am, it's about how heard you are. And also, kung mayabang rin lang ako, let's be mayabang together as BGC. Together, let's bring glory to BGC. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters naman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, let us now move on to the next question. Oh. This is directed to the Esplana Tolentino tandem. Why did the two of you decide that group ordering was the appropriate solution to address the food option issue on campus, given that it seems to be a short-term fix rather than a sustainable? I would like to hear further inputs as to the ways in which this method accounts for students with varying class schedules or dietary needs, and who is responsible for managing and coordinating this initiative if it's positioned as more of a project than a casual voluntary effort. Additionally, how does group ordering improve accessibility for all students rather than just fostering friendships among a specific group? Thank you. I will read it again. Why did the two of you decide that group ordering was the appropriate solution to address the food option issue on campus, given that it seems to be a short term fix rather than sustainable? I would like to hear further inputs as to the ways in which this method accounts for students with varying class schedules or dietary needs, and who is responsible for managing and coordinating this initiative if it's positioned as more of a project than a casual, voluntary effort. Additionally, how does group ordering improve accessibility for all students rather than just fostering friendships among a specific group? Thank you. 1 minute.
It's pretty long.
1 minute 30. So you guys may begin.
Okay, so again, thank you for this question. And since this question will allow me the opportunity to expound further on this plan. So I agree that a group order is not the end all solution, right? It does sound like a short term solution, but it's not a solution, it's an option while we find better, more long term solutions. So as of right now, as Luis and I are presenting ourselves to be your next BGC Day representatives, we still lack proper coordination, proper methods to coordinate with cravings, with admin. We still lack that as your candidates. So we come to propose a option, which is the group order. And in terms of how it would, if it would just promote or just foster relationships within a friend group, and how it's supposed to be a project and it might be a bit voluntary, the whole point of a group order system in a Telegram group chat for the whole BGC Day community is so that we learn to be more comfortable with each other. So it doesn't have to be just your friends, your blockmates, like, oh, we're all gonna order together. But I can myself just send a link that, oh, I'm gonna get coffee. Who sees the message can just join in. It's just a platform. So even if another block wants to order food and they're thinking, oh, maybe another block or another student who's here might want food, then they can use that option of the Telegram channel as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, for our next part, these are questions that come from the commission. So the question. Oh, sorry, we will have our 15-minute intermission first. So let us meet back here. What time? Sorry. At 7 o'clock. Thank you. Okay, so we will be resuming the questions, but before we will proceed to the questions from the commission, we will be hearing questions from the UP Law official publication, the Philippine Law Register. So they will be presenting their questions first.
So addressing to all candidates present right now.
Sorry, can you
Oh, okay.
hold this na lang?
Okay, I hold it. Okay. For first question, this is directed towards all candidates present. The absence of a health clinic and medical services on the campuses has long been recognized as a concern among the student body and the faculty alike. Although previous representatives have campaigned on delivering the same, none have quite succeeded. How can you assure the student body that their medical needs will be met under your term, including mental health initiatives, if any? Thank you.
So this question is directed to all candidates. So let us first hear from the candidate for BGC evening representative, candidate Melo.
Well, thank you. Yes. Thank you to the PLR for that question. And it's true, there is a lack of medical services in this campus. For example, I had a blockmate before who had a really bad sickness, and I went down to look for some medicine. And meron lang is yung box ng guard na may expired na biogesic, ganon. So I think that's really lacking. And one thing that the first thing that you would have to do as an LSG representative is work through the Basic Services Committee enshrined in the Constitution. Here we have mechanisms by which we can look into and investigate why this is happening, what we can do to fix it, and how to fix it actually. So this will include, and this necessitates coordination with the UP Law Administration, coordination with the dean, because a campus can't go without medical services. What if something happens that's worse than a headache? And this includes, what I propose essentially is to go straight to the administration, utilize the Constitution, the Basic Services Committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Melo. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
Okay, thank you. First, short term. So, ipupush natin yung pagkaroon ng mga basic health kits throughout the campus. I think that's one good step that we can forward. Pangalawa is an available list of services, emergency health services that are available near BGC, pwede ring around Makati, that is available in case we need, para may immediate tayong list ng contacts. Medium and long term, since nasabi nga sa question that there is a demand pagdating naman sa admin na they're willing to help, of course we'll continue. Isa sa mahalagang bagay dito is follow through. We will follow through with the admin. I've seen the admin release some mental health sensing forms. We'll try to capitalize on these initiatives by the admin and actually try to propose that in their upcoming budgets, merong mga allotted line items for health services that is specific to BGC. Not just physical or physiological health, but also mental health services. Ayun lang. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Yu.
I think aside from going through the traditional routes of going through the admin and speaking to the different offices, I specifically put in my healthcare platform that I still want to address the short-term need now. Because negotiations can go on for as long as the admin wants it to, right? So to address the short-term need now, I want to bring in the free CPR training. Aside from it's free, it's voluntary, na upskill tayo, ma-upskill din yung staff. So that if there is ever a serious incident where someone needs medical attention that isn't solved by expired biogesic, then there's someone here on campus who can help until the actual medical professionals like the nurses or the EMTs are able to arrive.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Tolentino.
Okay, so thank you for that question, as this is a concern throughout so far since I've been a freshman. And I think aside from the short term of ensuring that the health kits are stocked and that they are up to date and not expired, I think once Luis and I are your next BGC Day representatives, then we can get to the bottom of why these negotiations have been stalling. So a personal top of my head solution right now that we can explore is coordinating with the different schools around UP-BGC. So I'm sure that they have clinics there, as most of their student body is are younger than us, and these are certain protocols that they have, but we can coordinate on where they get their services. If it's possible to find some sort of joint venture wherein if we have an immediate need that needs an emergency response, we can ask them for help or even just a stretcher or some sort of assistance as well. But these are proposals that can be further threshed out through negotiations. And as for the mental health awareness, again, in my platform, I want a community that reminds us to take brain breaks. So I hope we can incorporate this more as we come into the incoming school year. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Esplana.
Thank you for the question. I echo candidate Camara's plan to map what's available in UPBGC. So unlike in Diliman, they have a health service there. In BGC, we do have certain facilities around us that we can go to whenever there is an emergency. Second, established protocols. There, we might not know what to do in case someone has a heart attack, someone has a panic attack. If we know the protocols are, we can act on it even without training. That's a good short-term solution. And for the long term, of course, really lobby for the inclusion of a clinic in UPBGC, if that's possible. With the support of the administration, the alumni, I'm sure something can happen eventually. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now this is for all candidates. So let us now hear from the candidate for Public Relations Officer, candidate Dumandan.
Thank you. So we recognize that the need for medical facilities and medicine is a need, especially since a lot of us our health often deteriorates because of the busyness of law school. So we need to recognize that this is not just a need, but it's really something that we all need as to serve as students. So we need to communicate this with the admin naturally. If granted, we would want to push for health stations within each campus that has health kits that include medicines, vitamins, and even health and sanitary items, which could be accessible to all students. And until then, we want to continue pushing forward our discussions, such as and raise it with not just the admin but with our monthly meetings with the dean as well, and make sure that this is a matter that is urgently raised by the student community and include this in our publications to make sure that this is an issue that is continued to be being addressed by the central board. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Matias.
Thank you. First of all, we do recognize the problem. And to address this, under A for accountable leadership, we have smart fiscal planning to ensure that there is a budget that is practical, efficient, and responsive to the needs of the student. As your LSG treasurer, your future LSG treasurer, bibili tayo ng gamot na hindi expired sa Diliman, sa Iloilo, at sa BGC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And lastly, let us hear from candidate Argana.
Thank you very much. A few main points. First, when it comes to students' rights and welfare, kasama sa mga karapatan natin bilang estudyante ay yung healthcare access natin. Kaya naman nire-recognize natin at ine-echo yung sentiments of our fellow candidates na it's high time we also had a health facility here in the UP BGC campus. We recognize din na it would not come without its challenges. Hindi lang din naman UP Law ang nakikinabang sa building na to, but we will try to make sure that in our conversations with the dean and the rest of the UP administration, we have a voice in the discussions. Uulit natin yung pangangailangan natin for that. Next, under our platform for a system na gumagana, we have yung membership development under personal aspects. And for this one, if kakayanin natin na mag-train din ng mga LSG members and volunteer corps, then sa first aid man lang, makatulong tayo sa aspect na yun. And finally, sa mental health, yung volunteer corps as well with the University Committee on Mental Health is something that na i-explore pa natin further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll now be giving the mic back to PLR.
Second question from PLR. Wait. Okay, this is to address to the LSG core candidates, so Matias, Argana, and Dumandan. Notwithstanding the fact that most of LSG's operations are based in Diliman, there is a general sentiment among those from the other campuses, namely BGC and Iloilo, that they have historically been overlooked by LSG's operations and programs. Should each of you be elected, how will you ensure that your non-Diliman constituents will receive the benefits of your term, that you'll be representing them, their interests, and take their needs in consideration with your programs? Thank you.
Thank you. Let us first hear from the candidate running for PRO, candidate Dumandan.
Thank you. So as the next PRO, I want to make sure that communication reaches all students in all three campuses. So as the head of the public relations committee, I want to ensure that there is a member in my committee that represents each of the campuses well. And with this, I want to emphasize again that my programs are not just limited to Diliman, especially since we not only want to maximize and further improve the usage of our online spaces, but also fully utilize the physical spaces that are already available to us right now in our campuses. So we want to emphasize that all students deserve to have a kind of communication that is inclusive, it's responsive, and it's forward planned, so that we know, and no matter what program you are, you can be updated whether you're at work or whether you're just passing by the campus, so that you won't have to be left in the dark. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from the candidate running for treasurer, candidate Matias.
Thank you. Under my platform, M for Makabagong Pananaw, we have open communication where we will ensure that the student body can say what they need to say. They can cover their comments, their feedbacks to the LSG. And also, I will mobilize the Volcor to make sure that there is an active presence in all campuses.
Thank you. And lastly, let us hear from the candidate running for internal vice president, candidate Argana.
Thank you very much. I'll begin with the common answer regarding the diversity within the volunteer core of our own committees, considering that there needs to be proper representation from all three campuses. However, it is also my commitment to ensure that this representation is not simply tokenistic, but genuine. And we can do that in addition to our main town halls that are done regularly by mobilizing the Volcor themselves to assist in the events that are held in both Diliman, Iloilo, and BGC. And we'll be emulating our best practices from our own activities when we were the Diliman evening representative. For instance, the evening week, which was held last week, was implemented across all three campuses. And we did this through the help of the entire team, which came from Iloilo, BGC, and Diliman. We'd like to recognize the efforts, of course, of those who helped out in the event. And we'll be again, carrying out these best practices further and sharing with the rest of the CB so that they too can carry it with their own activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Does PLR still have more questions? That's all. Okay. Thank you so much to the Philippine Law Register. So now we will be proceeding with the questions from the commission. So for our first question, this is directed to candidate Esplana and Tolentino separately. Let us say candidate U wins and only one of you will be elected. Why should you be the half of the tandem that deserves to win? To repeat, let us say candidate U wins and only one of you will be elected. Why should you be the half of the tandem that deserves to win? Let us start with candidate Tolentino.
Okay, so thank you for that question. So again, this is also something that has been asked to us in RTRs. And I want to begin my answer by saying, of course, we prefer both of us, but then it could also be either of us. So when I say that it should be me, when I talk about my own accomplishments and my own characteristics, this isn't limited to how I see myself, but this is also how I see my running mate Luis. Because again, I chose him and we chose to be a tandem together. So I believe that both of us are here to listen to the student body, to hear your concerns and to make sure that the hallway conversations, again, go to the LSG table. We are here to support you. We are here to provide opportunities. And ultimately, we are here to serve and provide superior service that starts with listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidate Tolentino. Let us hear now from candidate Esplana.
Well, thank you for that question. For me, if candidate you wins and it's just one of us, I believe in Soph. I believe that Soph can listen. I believe that Soph can unite, inspire, and smile also. We ran together. We believe in each other. We discussed plans together. Of course, we want to win together. But I'm willing to concede it to Soph because I really believe that she listens also and unites and inspires and smiles. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear next question. This is directed to the candidates for evening representative. How do you propose to lobby or provide a 24/7 study space for BGC students, given that during the bar exam season, the lounge, which is open 24/7, is exclusively for the use of bar candidates? To repeat, how do you propose to lobby or provide a 24-hour study space for BGC students, given that during the bar exam season, the lounge, which is open 24/7, is exclusively for the use of bar candidates? Sorry. Let us first hear from candidate Melo.
Well, thank you for that question. It's true, when it's not bar exam season, we have a 24/7 study space, so that's not a problem. But when it is bar exam season, what we can do first of all is to explore the most logical answer would be the commons, an extension of the commons hours to make it 24/7. But then there are costs that come with this. There are costs that come with the electrification of the commons 24/7, has aircon and has lights, etc. So what we can do also is explore looking at classrooms. We can explore booking classrooms for certain dates where any student, eve or day, can go to this classroom that has been arranged with OCS to study for their coming exams. It can be one classroom, it can be multiple classrooms. This can be organized through the proper forms and processes that can be negotiated with the OCS for eve students and for all students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Camara.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say that this was raised to me earlier by my blockmates. Since as a block, we usually spend our nights here sa study lounge kapag exam season. As in natutulog yung blockmates ko, mga 3 a.m. lalabas kami para kumuha ng kape, ganong levels. So I am aware and talagang nag-iisip kami kung ano nang gagawin namin sa finals pagdating dito. So one naisip ko while trying to discuss this with my blockmates is to reconfigure the existing spaces in BGC. One of the least napapansin kong hindi nagagamit na areas is actually the faculty lounge downstairs. Like, have you seen a professor go inside? I haven't seen. I've been there I've been a student for a year. I think we can try to discuss with the administration to reconfigure that particular space na hindi na kailangan mag-away hindi naman nag-aaway, hindi kailangan maghatian ng mga bar takers and ng mga students when it comes to having a 24/7 space for the campus. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Now for our next question. For our next question, this is directed to candidate Melo. Your Mental Health Mondays plan provides for bringing forward concerns and complaints. Can you describe the specific procedure you will undertake in resolving the complaints? Again, your Mental Health Mondays plan provides for bringing forward concerns and complaints. Can you describe the specific procedure you will undertake in resolving the complaints?
Well, thank you for that question. And if you weren't aware, Mental Health Mondays is something that I propose that is a low commitment mechanism where anyone can bring forward what's troubling them, what they want to talk about, etc. to me personally or online. And what this one key mechanism here is the ease of access through a Google form. You can just type down, if you don't want to meet me online on like face to face, you can just type down what's troubling you, what your concern is, what your issue is. And from there, there's going to be a feedback mechanism where we check okay, what's happening here? What's the root cause? Is this just an isolated thing, or is this a more systemic thing? From there, we can approach the necessary offices. Without disclosing your identity, of course, we can say why is this issue happening to certain students? For example, for OCS, if it's enlistment concerns, etc. We can check with our constituents directly. That's the point of Mental Health Mondays. And it's a regular thing also that doesn't just happen once in a blue moon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now for our next question. This is directed to candidate Kamara. You are the first partisan candidate from a unified party in UP law elections in years. What do you have to say to those who believe partisan politics would cause further division in UP law and specifically BGC? To repeat, you are the first partisan candidate from a unified party in UP law elections in years. What do you have to say to those who believe partisan politics would cause further division in UP law and specifically BGC?
I entered UP in 2017 when there were still 3 political parties existing. At that time, campus politics was actually really vibrant. And you don't have to personally believe in what my party has to say. One of the strong arguments for having a party system coming from a political science perspective is that it strengthens political participation. Nakita natin ngayon na one of the 3 is not campaigning anymore. My party has received a lot of electoral losses in the different years, and the other party has seen a lot of internal divisions. And what has happened to the University Student Council? What has happened to our campus? Nawalan ng interest kasi hindi nakapag-organize ng maayos ng mga political parties. And I personally am accountable to that. And that's why when they asked me if I wanted to bring it to UP Law, I saw that this is a way to try to revitalize in my own way that we should have a student participation that we need. So yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you. For our next question, this is directed to candidate Melo. How feasible are weekly check-ins with the entire BGC student population? Again, how feasible are weekly check-ins with the entire UP BGC population?
So thank you for that question. Weekly check-ins are feasible as long as they're done actually regularly and there are efficient communication lines in place to ensure that people are aware of that system. So you can't just, for example, post a Google form, leave it at the start of the school year, leave it for the whole academic year, and expect people to utilize the mechanism. It has to be regularly available. So it has to be utilized through bulletin boards, through messages in the communication lines. It has to be made known to the studentry, and they're feasible because the primary consideration here is convenience. Students have to have ready access to these forms, to these Google forms, to these resources that can allow them to say, hey, something's wrong here. I need some help, or I need your advice for something, or I need to consult the LSG with something. They have to actually know, first of all, that mechanism exists. And second of all, they have to find it convenient enough to actually use it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now for our next question. This is directed to candidate Kamara. Alianza has historically been criticized for holding positions against free tuition and in favor instead of a reformed socialized tuition system. If there is a push for free tuition in UP law, would you support it or would this be unsustainable? Again, Alianza has historically been criticized for holding positions against free tuition and in favor instead of a reformed socialized tuition system. If there is a push for free tuition in UP law, would you support it or would this be unsustainable?
Just want to say at the outset that UP Alianza has always been for quality, accessible, and relevant education. When we talk about the discussions about the tuition policy and free education policy in the university, nanggagaling to sa konteksto na pinanggagalingan. At the time that we were pushing for reforming the socialized tuition system, it was a time where there was still no free tuition law. Pumasok ko ng UP, doon napasa yung free tuition law, and there was an existing mechanism with which students can be able to access free education without necessarily hampering accessibility with respect to other finances. Okay. Now, when it comes to creating a free tuition law, free tuition in UP Law, naniniwala ako sa pagkaroon ng sistema na needs-based mechanism. Pagkaroon ng needs-based mechanism, kung sino yung mga nangailangan ng mga estudyante, ito yung bibigyan natin ng subsidy at pagbibigyan natin ng access dahil hindi nila kayang bayaran ang kasalukuyang tuition sa UP Law. So yun lang, salamat.
Okay, thank you so much. For our next question, this is directed to candidate U. As a freshman adjusting to life in BGC, interactions with Diliman students have been limited. Do you believe that BGC would benefit from more interactions with Diliman or more isolation from it? To reiterate, as a freshman adjusting to life in BGC, interactions with Diliman students have been limited. Do you believe that BGC would benefit from more interactions with Diliman or more isolation from it?
I think the advantages for both, which sounds very general, but hear me out. I want actually BGC to be more connected with Diliman because let's be honest, Diliman has most of ang daming life na nangyayari doon. And then when we come here, our campus looks like a hospital, which is ironic because we want a hospital. We need the medical assistance here. But I also think that the culture that we develop here through the programs and the efforts of our day reps and our eve reps should also be able to give our community here a sense of its own identity. Kasi a lot, again, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of us here chose BGC for a specific reason. And that is a great common denominator for all of us to build on that sense of community and find something that will help us foster that even more.
Thank you so much. Now, for our next question, this is to all the candidates. Do you believe that UPBGC should be a totally separate program? For example, like San Beda Mendiola and San Beda Alnabang? Or is the current setup as an extension of Diliman enough? Again, do you believe that UPBGC should be a totally separate program, such as San Beda Mendiola and San Beda Alabang? Or is the current setup as an extension of Diliman enough? Let us first hear from candidate Melo.
Yes, thank you for that question. From the outset, I don't think that UPBGC should be a separate program. I think that's just going to fuel more problems than solutions. For one, the current issues are that UPBGC severely lacks the things that is available in Diliman. For example, where are the orgs? Do orgs even come here when they recruit? We just see a social media post, apply kayo dito. Di naman namin kilala yung org na yan eh. Diba? So we have to address the issue of them making of UP Law, making its presence stronger and not just fueling rhetoric of UP Diliman, UP BGC. It has to be just UP Law. That's what I think. Because if we address the problem that divides us, which is, okay, there are certain things UP BGC has that Diliman doesn't have and vice versa, di walang mangyayari sa atin. We're just going to be competing with each other. And that's not the ideal thing that UP would want and us UP students would want also. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
I agree with candidate Melo. In fact, I dislike the phrasing of the question that there is a current setup as an extension of Diliman. I believe that BGC and Diliman campuses are not necessarily in a different hierarchy. We belong in one UP Law and we have our own independent identities, but we are together as a community. And trying to say that Diliman is the major campus and BGC and Iloilo are extensions of that just only fuels the rhetoric that there is a second, UP Law. With that, I do agree and believe that there should be greater representation for BGC in this sense. For now, there will be 2 BGC Eve and BGC Day reps, but even orgs and our student volunteer arm should be extended to have our own versions in BGC as well. Doesn't mean that we will separate, but it means that we will have our own identity that is one with the UP Law community. Yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate U.
Practically speaking, I don't think that's very feasible just because throughout our convocations here, all of us BGC representatives in front of you all agree na kulang tayo sa facilities. how can we even think of considering ourselves as separate from Diliman when we need actually the support to get us our own feet on the ground and like get us on the ground running, diba? So I from a cultural perspective also, I don't see a divide. Rather, it's a difference in how our campus experience has trained us and molded us into the kind of culture that we have now.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Tolentino.
So thank you for the question, and I completely agree with candidate Melo, Camara, and candidate Yu. And I think it really is the solution is not more isolation. I believe we are already moving towards a good solution or in the right way. So I congratulate first Elecom for being able to hold a BGC convocation, and that's already a step in the right direction. I acknowledge and I thank the law specific or law wide candidates for making time to again go to BGC as well. Even in moot programs wherein Magalona teams have coaches here as well, have trainings here, or even the actual moot organization who have trainings here. So I think we are already moving towards a direction of one UP law. And that is where we should keep going. So isolation is not the answer. It's a change in the language. Because again, words are powerful. So we're not scholar ng bayan ng BGC. Like we are scholar ng bayan. So yes, one UP law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Esplana.
Thank you for the question. I echo the other candidates. There's only one UP law. You know, if you trace the history of UP law and its achievements, if UP BGC, when we win, our BG students win, UP law also wins. What we can do instead of isolation is to recognize our history, our heritage, what we can bring to Diliman, what we can bring to ourselves. And once we have that established, there is a collaboration, there is more unity. So there. So there. Yeah. So continuing, since we have this BGC heritage also, it's not the cause of isolation. It's a way for us to show that we also contribute to the UP law identity by our achievements, by what we can contribute. So I think it's not a good idea to isolate from Diliman. It's a good idea to, bring more glory to UP law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we move on to the next candidate, just to explain to those watching on the live, the camera just fell a bit, but we are back with the screen is okay already. So now let us hear from candidate Dumandan.
Okay, thank you. So to answer, I don't believe that UPBGC should be a separate program, but rather a more connected program. Because there's no difference in no matter what campus you are. You all belong to one UP law. We are all UP law. And as such, one of the ways to better connect all campuses is through communication. We need to make sure that everyone is updated in the events of UP law and also in all the important legal happenings that concern us students. And also information reaches all of the campuses timely and in an efficient manner. Also, we need to ensure that students are heard in real time, whether it's their concerns, their suggestions, or any comments that would concern the welfare of the student community. And we can ensure this through our feedback form to ensure that in all the steps of our planning, we will not be exclusive, but rather inclusive of the whole UP law community. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us now hear from candidate Matias.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say that I agree with Mr. Camara that BGC is not an extension of Diliman. There is only one UP law. And as your LSG treasurer, the budget should be effective. Effective in a way that the events would be planned for all campuses at the start of the year. And that the IGP should be inclusive. And this would be under my platform of collaborative fundraising initiative. And I also agree with Ms. Tolentino that the convocs here in BGC is already a step in the right direction. Thank you all for welcoming us. UP BGC should not be separate. There's only one UP law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And lastly, let us hear from candidate Argana.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear the common sentiment from our BGC candidates. that there should no be such thing as just an extension of the Diliman program in BGC. And to echo the same sentiment, there should be just one UP law. I'm also happy to see San Beda Alabang's name mentioned in the question because I come from that school. And just to provide another basis for my answer, perhaps it was more effective in that setup because San Beda Alabang was a full unit. You have your preschool down to your professional schools. And that is not something that is feasible if you want to establish another UPBGC, then you'd have to have all those resources. Speaking of resources, we want to share this with all three campuses. It so happens that UP Diliman houses the Mocobo Center for the UP Law Center. So those resources are very much beneficial to all members of the UP Law community, not just for your academics, but for your student life as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we what with the question we can notice that there's dearth when it comes to the all of BGC as compared to the Diliman campus, and it's unavoidable that this reality is happening. Probably due to the number of students that prefer to work in the aula of the Diliman campus. But with this, we can balance this situation by accurately informing the student body that the Office of Legal Affairs offers opportunities that are not just exclusive. It's not specific to a certain campus. We can accurately inform the students that whether or not they're in Diliman or BTC, they'll be able to fully benefit under the internship of OLA, and they'll be able to fully experience despite being a different campuses. And like as we said, that there's no difference in UP law since we're all one UP law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Matias.
Okay, thank you. Although this is not, I believe, directly related to the role of the treasurer, under my platform of real-time fiscal transparency, the projects of other members of the LSG would be seen. The funds that would be used there could be seen by you anytime, anywhere. And also under my platform of open communication, any concern of the student body, be it feedback or comments to the finances or other concerns, would also be welcomed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And let us now hear from candidate Argana.
Thank you very much. One of the nice things about the legal education is the provision of legal aid to those who most need it. And with the surplus in Diliman's OLA program, then perhaps we can explore also recognizing the fact that there may be communities reaching the Diliman OLA because of proximity, and that there are less clients in BGC because it just so happens that the legal aid is or less approached here in the said campus. Now, we will note the innovations that are available to us pertaining to digital innovations. Say the Diliman Ola is loaded with requests for legal aid and there is space for accommodation in the BGC campus. If it is not feasible for the clients in Diliman to go to BGC, considering the cost as well as of transportation, then we must use our resources, digital resources, to perhaps provide Zoom assistance. And if we can bring the students from BGC with other mechanisms, then we could also explore that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now let us see our next question. So this is to all BGC candidates. What do you think needs to be improved about the BGC OLA system? Again, what do you think needs to be improved about the BGC OLA system? So let us first hear from candidate Melo.
So thank you for that question. Well, one thing that I think can be improved about the BGC OLA system is that there's confusion when it comes to what the OLA system in BGC is, how it's connected to the Diliman OLA system, and if any. Because as you said before, there's a dire lack of actual things that's happening with BGC OLA compared to Diliman. So does that translate to a loss on the part of the students on their capacity to learn through OLA, for example? And the programs offered by OLA, does that mean that there's a lack also compared to Diliman? We have to address those issues, and if those issues actually exist. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
Okay. In my conversations with fourth year blocks, I want to be specific about how the communication when it comes to mid-year OLA has been disseminated to them. Historically, they've been saying that BGC evening students have been left out by the prioritization of slots in OLA. So that's one improvement that I will push for. To make sure that start pa lang yung mga fourth years when they're starting with their OLA for day, na-include na yung mga evening students na fifth year. And mid-year is the most opportune time for working students kasi nga, least time yon para mag-leave kami and be able to try to take an internship or work practicum somewhere. So, yun talaga yung isang improvement na kailangan is ngayon pa lang, siguro pag-start pa lang ng term namin, may pag-coordinate na kami with OLA when it comes to the scheduling and guidelines of the mid-year so that ma-forward ko na to sa fourth year blocks, who would be fifth year by then, and they'll be able to pick the choices, whether in Diliman or BGC, kung ano yung mga kailangan nila. I think from that, magkakaroon ng okay na OLA system for BGC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Yu.
I think my sentiments on this are actually mentioned in the previous question on specifically the dearth of clients for our upstairs OLA. And I personally think that a good first step for that would be using the digital landscape to our advantage. Because I think a common misconception also is that walang OLA dito because we are considered a satellite campus. So I think just addressing that piece of misinformation would already be a huge help because let's be honest, ang daming Pilipino. Ang daming Pilipino period. And I'm sure that we just put the word out that we have this facility available. That will already be more than enough help for our facility here.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Tolentino.
So thank you for that question, and I echo the thoughts of candidate Camara in that this issue of OLA also goes back to a core issue about enlistment and for our fourth years. So I think we need to better coordinate what the slots for OLA for the fourth years and what this would entail. So if I remember correctly from our conversations or my conversations with the graduating seniors, is that their OLA sessions were moved actually to Diliman. And this is at times for lecture in Diliman. And these are things that they were uninformed about when or during enlistment. So it's really about communicating, again, the needs related to the dearth of the clients and how we can better accommodate everyone's schedules or everyone's responsibilities and obligations to OLA, not only as students, but of course, to their clients as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us
Thank you for the question. They say
hear from
there's
candidate
this quote,
Esplana.
don't fix what's not broken. OLA in BGC right now, according to the fourth year students, it's not exactly broken. What we can do is, since Diliman has surplus, know how these people are reached and mirror it to BGC. That would be an effective way to attract more OLA clients in this campus. So let's just improve it through mirroring what's effective in Diliman. We don't have to try to change anything. Thank you.
Okay, so oh yes, that is the last BGC candidate. So we'll move on to the next question. Oh, sorry. For the next set of questions, You will be given 30 seconds to answer. So to all the candidates, what is your ideal second date? Let us since we keep starting with candidate Melo, let's start from the other end. So let us first ask candidate Matias. So candidate Matias, what is your ideal second date? Second.
Yeah. The ideal second date for me, well, I have a girlfriend right now, and the first time that we had a date, I asked her out. So that's a private dinner somewhere at a restaurant. And the ideal second date for me was what happened with us, where we attended UP Fair. Nag-rev kami. So yeah, I think somewhere where you can be open to each other while not that close na parang sa first date where you want to get to know the person muna. Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Let us now hear from candidate Argana.
Thank you very much. Perhaps the ideal second date for me would be what our second date was as well. Just spending the time to appreciate what we do on our own. For instance, I get to see what she does kapag may free time. Kung ano may mga hobbies, like looking at books and fully booked. And sa akin naman, na nag-spend kami ng time, pinapanood niya kung anong ginagawa ko sa work. Medyo hindi ganun ka-exciting, pero ayun yung ideal for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let us now hear from candidate Domandan.
I thank you. So I'll just draw on my experience as well. So the first was in a restaurant, so we just eat together. But the second date, which was ideal, was just having a picnic at Sunken Garden. But the plot twist was instead of eating, we were reading our codals. So ako nag-cream siya, nag-oblicon. So we just argued then after. So yeah, it was an ideal date because it was like the scenery was good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Esplana.
So thank you for the question. The ideal for first date, you're protective from yourself, trying to gauge the other person. But the second date, it's a time to be more free, to be more active, to be more physical. So I think a great second date for me is some sporty activity or something you can walk. I also have a girlfriend, but that's a private matter. So it's up to you. Let's abstract love and let's not make it personal just to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now let us hear from candidate Tolentino.
Okay, so thank you for the question. I think this is one of the places where Luis and I diverge. So he wants something more active. A perfect or an ideal second date for me is just good food and good conversation. So it's really about getting to know the person more, and I think that would be the perfect setup because I personally love good food and really talking about food. So I'm kind of like that's something that will really get the conversation going for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Let us now hear from candidate Yu.
For me, a good second date would be actually a trip to time zone. Mostly because pag sa second date, di mo pa siya kilala, medyo stranger, medyo gusto mo, pero medyo stranger pa rin, di ba? So, find a common activity, di ba? So that you have something to bond over. And then through that, makikilala mo rin siya through like his or her actions.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
Unlike the other male candidates, I'm not drawing from experience. So, but answering the question, I think one thing that's important to me after I get to know the person better is what they think about the world, what they think about issues. So medyo I don't know, medyo cheesy, but I would love a museum date. Because I'm not there to like, oh, I'm gonna take a picture of you because you're the art of the room. No, I'm actually interested. I would hate that, but I would love to discuss the things that are being the historical artifacts there. So yeah, thank you.
And lastly, let us hear from candidate
Hello.
Melo.
So I have a girlfriend. Yung ideal second date for me, I think, is what we did also. I think a first date should be something casual, like a lunch or something. Second date is something that you do something that they're interested in. So for example, for me, my girlfriend, she's really into indoor cycling, mga ride rev. Ganun. I've never done that in my life. And she asked me to do that with her. So I did. And I knew what I was willing to do for this girl, diba? So di ako makalakad the next day. And then at least she knows also how committed I was at that point na I do something I wasn't comfortable with. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's hear next question. Just give the answer to all the candidates. Just give the answer, no context. Kung bubuksan ang puso mo, sino ang makikita? Again, let us start with candidate Matias.
Kung bubuksan ng puso ko ang makikita ay UP Law. I am Armandrick Matias, running to be your next LSG treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Argana.
Kung bubuksan ang puso ko, makikita niyo si Lloyd. Strong sa faith, strong sa beliefs, but this drives us dun sa mga serbisyong binibigay natin. Not necessarily na ipilit natin yung paniniwala natin, but it's good to have some anchor as well. So, maraming salamat, Yupila.
Thank you so much. Sorry, no context po. Let us hear from candidate Dumandan.
Kung bubuksan ko yung puso ko, siguro makikita lahat ng multong nagbulong sa akin ng sagot sa resi.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Esplana.
If you open my heart, you'll see my fire, my burning love. It's not a who, it's a what. It's my burning love. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Tolentino.
Kung bubuksan ang puso ko, ang makikita nyo ay ang pagmamahal ko sa pagkain. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Yu.
Kung bubuksan ang puso ko, makikita niyo yung mom ko. I love my mom.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
Sorry, nerd moment, but kung bubuksan ng puso ko, makikita niyo yung doctrine of separation of powers.
And lastly, let us hear from candidate Melo. Sorry, candidate Melo, you were muted.
Sorry, Zoom, di niyo nakuha yung joke. Kung bubuksan ng puso ko, makita niyo doon in big black letters, naka-inscribe, naka-embolden pa. Kay Melo, lahat panalo. Thank you, Zoom.
Thank you so much. And for our last question, to all the candidates, when was the last time you cried and why? So, let us first, sorry. Okay, to just switch it up a bit, we'll start from the center going out. So, we'll start with candidate Esplana.
So the last time I actually cried was in front of a lot of people. I was speaking in public because it's very close to my heart. I can still remember it from now because it's about my father fighting against injustice. So I'm really passionate about it. I still have the memories, but that's how vulnerable I can be for you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from candidate Tolentino.
So the last time I cried was my Blackmiss This was after a Labor 2 class wherein it was my first lesson ever in that class, and I was standing for an hour or more than an hour, and I cried after and actually during. Like you could, like my seatmate could see the tears about to fall, but I did not want them to fall, and I just cried after. And I guess it's just it shows how much I can persevere for what I want. And I wanted to recite that day, didn't want to sit down, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Dumandan.
Thank you. The last time I cried was last semester because I wasn't able to get a good recit. But in my defense, I read all the coverage for class, and then my prof just decided to skip it and go to the next topic. So yeah.
The last time I cried was actually before my first RTR. Mainly because dun lang siya nag-sink in that this is the most I've actually opened myself up for people to get to know. And that's kind of difficult for me as someone who likes to do the little planning on the side, supporting and coming up with the ideas. The speaking part and like the campaigning part, I tried really hard to make it as close to me as possible. And that's what made it difficult.
Thank you so much. Now let us hear from candidate Argana.
Thank you. I last cried nung Saturday between the hours of 1 and 4 p.m. So very exact tayo. And actually, two reasons yun successive na crying sessions. But both were from TikTok. One was from a video na they were letting go of their family pet of 17 years. And it just touched me kasi we also have a family pet na 15 years old na rin ngayon. But the other one was because meron pong video from a grandfather and I lost mine before I graduated high school, and I wish he could see where we are now. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Let us now hear from candidate Camara.
Okay. The last time I cried was when I disclosed to my blockmates that I was going to file a letter of intent for this. Sorry, it sounds trapo, but genuinely was. Kasi when I entered as an evening student, sabi ko, magtatrabaho na ako, so like low-key na lang ako dito. Pero my blockmates for the past 2 sems, they've been, di ba mag-LSG ka? Di ba mag-LSG ka? Even if I go to Diliman, I have friends, di ba mag-LSG ka? And then I realized na, after them gaslighting me for 2 sems, I realized I wanted it. And while explaining that, umiyak ako. So yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from candidate Matias.
So the last time that I cried was when UP Law MBT got second sa conflicts. So yeah, for context member ako ng team. So bawi tayo UP Law. Thank you.
And lastly, let us hear from candidate Melo.
The last time the last time I cried was in final season last semester. Kasi alam mo yung feeling na parang bugbog ka na nga sa trabaho, tas I don't live with my family, uuwi ka sa condo mo na mag-isa, tapos mag-aaral ka ulit, bubuksan mo yung caudal mo. But then, yung cry ko nun, mga 3 tears lang. Kasi alam mo yung parang, wala akong time umiyak. So, kailangan mag-focus, I have to lock in and forget, all I can spare is 3 tears, parang ganun. So, yes, that's the last time.
Thank you so much. And I think that is the last question from the that will be presented on the screen, which is coming from the commission and as well as those that came from the Google Forms. So now we will be proceeding to the live question and answer portion. So again, these questions were the questions here in the live question and answer portion will be unfiltered and of course unaltered by the commission. So if there's anybody in the audience who wants to ask a question right now, you may. And we received only one question from the ballot box. So if nobody wants to ask a question right now directed to any of the candidates or even maybe to all the candidates, if does anybody want? So, okay, since there's nobody, we will be reading this one question from the ballot box. And then after I read the question, I will show it to the candidates. So this is signed by Vice Chair Mikey. And yes, so it's again handwritten. It was given to us from the ballot box. So this question says, it's directed to all BGC Day candidates. The question is, don't you feel that moving the Day GC from Messenger to Telegram has made the campus less connected? How about plans for a joint GC with Day and Eve? Again, this is directed to all BGC Day candidates. Don't you feel that moving the Day GC from Messenger to Telegram has made the campus less connected? How about plans for a joint GC with Day and Eve? So let us start with candidate Esplana. Let's just move going there. And then I will show the question first to candidate Melo so it can go backwards. Thank you. You will be given 1 minute to answer the question.
So, okay.
It's directed to the reps only, so it will be for the 3 of you only. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so thank you for the question. If you think about it,
Messenger and Telegram have very different features. Messenger is simpler. Telegram has a lot of more complexities to it. What I like about Telegram, it's not about making it less personal. It actually makes it more robust. There is a space for announcements. There is a space for every year level for their announcements. And there can also be a space for example, a group order. So I think it doesn't really make much of a difference. It makes it just more complex while giving it more features. Now, with the addition of Eve, sure, we can explore it because we all share the same campus. We can definitely explore that option, especially with the collaboration with the scheduling, the calendar. BGC Eve will also benefit from it.
Since the minute is up. So thank you. The questions beside you. Let us now hear from candidate Tolentino.
So thank you for that question. And I echo what candidate Esplana was discussing, and that I don't think that the move to Telegram has made the campus less connected. It actually has given us more purpose and more ways to utilize a group chat. It's more organized, it's also efficient in how announcements reach the people concerned. If we look at the specific channels per topic or per year level. And I think to solve the issue of the lack of community vibes, for another word, in the Telegram group chat, I think that's something we can work on. We can spearhead first or model as your next day representatives by making it a more casual discussion in the group chat. And yes, of course, a group chat with the evening students is something that can be explored. And I think we have to discuss the rationale for it, because if it would just clutter our inboxes, then perhaps that's something we can consider. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And lastly, let us hear from candidate Yu.
Just to get it out of the way, yes, to merge day and eve group chat. Like, I think that's a really good idea. I honestly don't understand why we don't hang out more often, considering we're already such a small campus. But for the first question, what was the first question? Connected.
Was, would you feel that moving the day GC from Messenger G has made the campus less connected?
Parang kabit daw yung BGC.
No, I don't think that it's made it less connected. If anything, I think it's just made all of our lives easier. Kasi Telegram is just in itself more organized, and so that gives us also more control on how to manage our personal and our law student lives, while also giving us that sense of, okay, do I want to do this? Do I want to not do this? It just gives us the freedom to connect more with other people because it's such an organized platform.
Thank you so much. So again, if there's anybody in the audience who wants to still ask a question, we'll wait. You want, okay. So we have a question here. Please state your name and to who it's directed.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gian Luna. I used to be BGC Day representative also. So this is coming from my own experience as Day rep. When the group chat was still in Messenger, everyone was involved. Everyone knew each other. Right now, when it's Telegram, there are people with random names like Anxious Capybara or Unlawful Aggressor. And I don't know who these people are. So don't you feel in that aspect, we can't joke around, send memes, and know who we're actually talking to? I think, okay, I was the one who wrote that question in the ballot box. So there, I just wanted to ask about that. That's the drive of that question. So I want each day candidate again to explain. Now that's the context.
Thank you so much. So let us start again with candidate Esplana.
So thank you. Yeah, very valid. Facebook is very personal, and each of us has a profile in Facebook. And on Telegram, you can just simply write anything. But as actually the beta, I made it to a point to add the numbers of each of my blockmates, so that put the name in their accounts. So it made it easier for me to talk to them, know who they are. But to answer that question, since you cannot possibly add so many people and cannot possibly get their numbers, a simple introduction, or as you go along the way, when you talk to them, they will introduce themselves. For example, there's this unlawful aggressor on Telegram. No? We all know who he is now, but it sticks. He is the unlawful aggressor. So it has also personal taste. You can view it in a different perspective. But we are always open to changes. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from candidate Tolentino.
Thank you, Gian. And I agree with candidate Esplana. And I think, for example, the issue or the concern about identities on Telegram. There's actually a function in Telegram where you can kind of put a nickname on someone. So if that's something that we can incorporate, and I think the use of the platform and how it could be a bit impersonal, that's also a concern that can be solved individually by each of us. So let's as your next day reps, we want to model being more casual or being more open in our GCs. So hopefully, when you see us utilize the GC in that way, it will follow within the community as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, let us hear from candidate Yu.
I also just want to add to the unlawful aggressor thing kasi tropa ko siya. So I've known for a long time na siya si unlawful aggressor. But at the same time, I think it's things like that that make the community feel more connected. Ayun tuloy, pinag-usapan niyo yung blockmate ko for how many how many months tapos nalaman niyo and it became such a thing. And in the same way, parang with how Telegram is used nowadays, I don't think having that bit of anonymity is a detriment, but rather it's how someone chooses to express himself. So if my blockmate thinks that he is unlawful aggressor, he wants you to know that that is him talaga, and that's how he wants to know you, diba? Parang let someone use the persona that they're comfortable with. And on the flip side, parang it kind of discounts also the experience of going, like walking dyan lang sa labas ng hallway and saying, oh, hi. Like, I met actually a fourth year during my first week in the elevator kasi sabi niya, are you a first year? And then he said, halata ba? So, yun. Sorry.
Thank you so much. And again, if we have any other questions here, none. So we don't have any more questions from the ballot box. And now we will proceed to our last portion for this convocations, which will be the closing spells of the LSG candidates. So we again will be giving the candidates 1 minute to deliver their spells. Let us first hear from the candidate running for BGC Eve representative, candidate Melo.
So hello guys. Thank you again to Elecom for organizing this. I think it's really a trailblazing moment for the entire law community. Thank you to everyone here for attending. Thank you to my campaign team. I really appreciate the help that they have. Kahit nasa Oblicon sila ngayon and nandito ako. But again, that jokes aside, thank you to them. Thank you to the candidates also for cooperating with this. Before I end, I just wanted to say that the Kay Melo Lahat Panalo is meant for everybody and not just evening students, but the whole UPBGC community. Because we really have to build a system that works for everyone and is intended for the use of everyone. And that's just what I put forward and what I thrust forward with. And if we don't have that sense of community with each other, that sense of being one as a UPBGC community, then we're not going to get anywhere. And that's really what I want to address and what I want to focus on, should I be fortunate enough to be your BGC evening representative. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from the other candidate running for BGC evening representative, candidate Camara.
Thank you also to the Electoral Commission for giving this convocation a space in BGC. Actually, nakikita natin dito sa BGC yung concerns na specific sa campus natin. Although it was phrased towards the BGC day students, many of the questions actually also apply to the needs of the evening students. So kung sino man yung piliin ng mga estudyante, I'm sure we can all work together as BGC representatives to actually push and make the campus a more livable, well, not livable, but like a stayable space. After a certain time, we can study here properly. We get the healthcare that we need. We get the food that we need. We don't need to go to Diliman for so many things, right? And with that, I just want to highlight that this convocation has been so important na narinig natin na we can align our plans together. And pagdating siguro ng plan SEM, whoever wins, mas madali na for us makipag-coordinate. So yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from the candidate running for BGC Day Representative, Candidate Yu.
Good evening, audience. Good evening, Elecom, and everyone else who is watching. I hope that this convocation has inspired the confidence in you to choose who you want to vote for in this coming elections. If you want a strategy that is based off of addressing urgent needs in campus that you feel need immediate attention, then vote for my co-candidates. But if you want sustainable and long-term solutions that I want to outlive even my batch, then a vote for me is a vote for you. So vote you for UPBGC Day.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from another candidate running for BGC Day Representative, Candidate.
Okay, so first, I want to begin by saying thank you to the student body. Thank you for the opportunity, not only to serve, but to get to know you more. So this convocation has been a learning experience, not only for as a day student, but even hearing more about the evening students and about the law-wide positions and about the concerns of UP law in general. Thank you to the Electoral Commission again. I congratulate you for this successful BGC convocation, and it is a step in the right direction. Thank you to the classes who engaged with us in the RTRs. Your questions really helped prepare us for today and helped solidify our whys on why we are running to serve you. I also want to thank my blockmates, my friends. Thank you for being here, whether in person or online. Thank you to my campaign team. Luis and I always say that you guys slayed. Thank you to Luis, and we hope you exercise your right to vote this Monday and May 15 and 16. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us now hear from Candidate Esplana.
First and foremost, thank you, Anacom, for going to BGC and organizing this. Second, thank you for your time and your questions. It has been a great joy answering them. Also, thank you for my campaign team, without which this wouldn't be possible. And thank you to Soph for being a great tandem, for being such a great tandem. You know, I used to say always remember leadership starts with listening. Forget that I listen, unite, inspire, and smile. But tonight, at least I hope I was able to make you smile and move your heart. And that's what matters to me. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you to everyone who attended today's convocation. I'd also like to thank Elecom for giving us the honor to be connected to the BGC campus for today. At the end of the day, this campaign is not just about striving for a position, but it's striving for a communication that is responsive, clear, and forward planned. Which is why we want to make sure that every student is always connected, no matter what campus you are, no matter what program you are, so that we can ensure that we are all connected with one another. And that's what being pro-student, proactive, and professional is all about. So please exercise your right to vote next week, not just for the LG elections, but also for national elections as well. And most of all, to make an informed choice. Once again, my name is JM Dumandan, your next PRO, and I promise to show up, I promise to listen, and I promise to work hard so you can get things done with JM Dumandan. Thank you.
So much. So, Matias.
Thank you. Thank you, Elecom, for providing us this opportunity, and thank you, BGC, for welcoming us. Throughout the convoke, I was taking notes, and some of the issues are really important to be handled. Study spaces, inclusiveness of the projects throughout all the campuses, and the BGC OLA system. And under my platform of smart fiscal planning, this would all be acknowledged and addressed. So what matters now is transparency and trust. What you need is a guy who doesn't just know the numbers. You need someone who really works with them in the real world. I am a certified public accountant with real world working experience, and that's what I can bring to the LSG. Once again, I'm Herman, his man, your man, our man, running for LSG Treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, let us hear from the candidate running for internal vice president, candidate Argana.
Perhaps for one last time here in the BGC campus during the campaign season, isang masaganang gabi muli, UP Law. Coming here, hindi lang ito opportunity para sa amin na i-present yung platforms and plans for the UP Law community. More importantly, it was a chance for us to hear the sentiments of the UP Law BGC community, which is why I'm very grateful for the questions raised, for the engagement during our room-to-room discussions. And I want to thank the Elecom for providing this platform and laud our fellow candidates over here, whom you can see have the heart for service and have the truest intentions for the UP Law community. Now, moving forward, again, yung ating vision for a system that works, sistemang gumagana na sigurado kay Argana, is truly integrated, value-driven, and value-giving, and finally, personal. Dahil basta't para sa UP Law, we will JAPS do it. Maraming salamat muli.
Thank you so much to all of our candidates. And to formally close this event, may we call on the Vice Chairperson of the UP Law Electoral Commission, who is also a BGC student, Vice Chair Mike Lirio, give us the closing remarks for this momentous convocations event.
So good evening, everyone. I'll keep this short. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. So as we wrap up BGC's first convocation, on behalf of the commission, I want to thank everyone here, so the candidates, their supporters, and the student body for making this event possible. Allow me to also mention and congratulate my fellow commissioners. Most of us here are seniors, and for what I think is a fairly successful first convocations here in BGC. So while this first one is relatively small in scale, we hope to continue this tradition in BGC, as we believe that the end goal has always been to be inclusive, most especially during the elections. And you can see that when candidates really try to go here. So we hope to continue that as the years go by. So again, don't forget to exercise your right to vote on May 15 and 16. And thank you again. And I hope you all have a productive week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Lirio. And again, for those who are watching online and was not able to catch it from the start, you can still view the convocation. It will be available in our YouTube channel. And also for the candidates, please take note that the campaign ban will start on May 14. The election proper, so this is for everybody. The election proper again will be on May 15 and May 16. So you may go to halalan.up.edu.ph and sign up using your UP mail to vote. So all of the other election details will also be posted in the Facebook page of the Elecom. So just please wait for the updates. And again, with that, we end our convocations. The first one in BGC for the general elections for the academic year of 2025 to 2026. And thank you to our candidates and thank you to everyone for being here today. Thank you.